Welcome to the Tom Bernard Podcast with
co-host Catherine Brandt and soon to be Alex Rasmussen.
Maybe. Andy Brandt Bernard.
And Kristen Burt.
Kristen. How many years now? 8, 9 years, 10 years, 12 years? How long have we been doing it?
Probably 11 at least.
2012.
So
it's,
13 then almost.
Years.
Yeah.
13 years. Have you ever known Alex to be on time once?
Oh, come on. Once in a while she had to have been on time.
Every so
Maybe
often.
back in the early
Yeah.
2012, 13 era, maybe.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been late for every show this week.
Yep.
Every one of
There's
them.
camps. She has camps.
Kids
yes,
home from
camps.
school
Camps.
changes your whole life. That is for sure.
It does.
Yes, it
She's
really
busy,
does.
and the kids are busy. They've got a schedule.
They
I
do.
get it.
They do.
The kids are busy. There you go. That's the excuse. No question about it.
Got to
Kids
tire
busy.
those kids out.
We got a full lineup of kids this weekend. It's going to be wonderful.
Yeah, we're like the babysitting machines this weekend.
Yep. No
You
doubt.
running a daycare?
Yep.
Alex's daycare today, and then Andy's
And tomorrow.
daycare today and tomorrow, and then Andy's on Sunday, right?
Well, you don't have to. We just
That's all
thought
right.
we'd.
No, we're
Melissa wants
going
to see a movie, just the two of us.
What movie?
How to Train Your Dragon, the remake.
Isn't she a little old for that?
You're never too old to go to the movies.
There you
Yes.
go.
Everybody
There you
says
have it.
it's fantastic.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
So,
That's the ticket. Kristen Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. So what's the latest?
Well, Charlie sent me an email, and he was like, hey, I want you to talk about Trainwreck Poop Cruise that is on Netflix.
what?
Train wreck. Jude, are you in it?
Judy.
It's pretty much that good. I mean, honestly, it's about the 2000, and you might remember this as I start to talk about it. A Carnival cruise line had a fire and lost all of its power. And it was stuck out at sea because it had no power. And exactly as you think, of course, all of the septic system backed up.
Oh, I thought they just
And-
flushed that into the ocean.
No, because there was no power. So there's nothing to flush anything.
You think it would just be like gravity assisted or something, right? You're so far up, just use gravity. But maybe
But
not.
there was no electricity. There was no, so everything was backing up. It was going into rooms. They also, they gave out, ready? They gave
God.
out red biohazard bags. Use your imagination on what those are for. And they told everyone to pee in the shower. That was
So that is
but
gravity
it-
assisted.
back on this particular cruise, which by the way, they've renamed the ship and it's still working. So
There's a fire in the aft engine room. No injuries to anyone, but yeah, they lost power and propulsion.
Wow.
And they were originally going to have a Mexican tugboat, like tug it back into land. However, they drifted so far into international waters that Mexico then had no jurisdiction. The other issue was like a lot of people didn't have passports because at the time you didn't need a passport to go on a cruise.
Oh, yeah.
So it would have caused like a big international scandal. So they had to wait until they got closer to Texas.
Oh my God! You would think that there would be a little bit of we can adjust the rules when somebody's sitting on a
It's
crap cruise.
Crazy.
and sea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were stranded for 4 days out there. And at one point, because there was no food, because there's no refrigeration or anything else like that, they were giving them onion sandwiches.
Oh, God.
Tasty.
Yeah, so
Ish.
tasty. They opened up the bar. They're like, we will just like open up the bar. This would be a great idea. Free alcohol should make people happier. Well, with no food and an open
Yeah.
bar, it made people insane. And people were
Yeah.
having like sex all over the place.
Oh, God.
It just
That
anyway,
sounds like a
the net-
nightmare.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like you
That's why
died
they
and
call
went
it
to hell.
Trainwreck Poop Cruise. But it is on Netflix right now. It is one of their trending top shows. No surprise. Anytime you have the word poop in the title, I think
Yeah,
that's
oh,
going to
yeah.
draw attention.
Oh, yeah.
And but it looks back a lot of the passengers who were on there talk about that memory. You know, a bachelorette trip and families who were on there. And yeah,
How many days were they stranded?
4, she said.
4.
4 days.
4 days with no
It's a
toilets.
lot.
I'd be in a lifeboat paddling for shore. I'd be, get me out
Yeah,
of here.
seriously, just swim away. I'm good.
Well, and it was so hot too that people were dragging their mattresses out of the rooms and then onto the deck so that they could sleep. Because and a lot of the rooms became flooded with urine and things like that. So it was.
Flooded with urine. Yeah.
God, it just gets worse.
Perfect.
It really does. I mean, if you want the biggest nightmare ever, I was telling Bill, I'm like, poop cruise. He's like, I can't watch that. The title alone. And then I was like, well, just watch the trailer, see if you'll watch it. And he was like, nope. Nothing with
No.
Yeah, Jude, you're
I
out.
can't believe there's not like triple redundancy
Yeah,
for something
you would
like that.
think.
You'd think that they would have that
Generators
figured
in the
out.
like
in
both
different
sides
areas.
of the ship.
Yeah.
So yeah, the only way to knock them all out is to basically sink.
Yeah, or each floor has a generator of
Yeah,
some kind.
you would think.
Yeah, you'd think.
I'm not a cruiser though. Like so there are
No.
people that are diehard cruisers and they swear by it, but you know, I've done a booze cruise before, and my family did. We did a family cruise like for Disney. Before it was the Disney Cruise Line, it was like the big red boat. It's just not for me. I think I could do one. Everyone says to do the Alaskan cruise because it's a great way to see the glaciers.
Everybody does say that, yes.
Yeah, but otherwise, I'm not sure that cruise life is for me.
No, I don't know. For me, I would get seasick right after leaving port, and I would just be violently ill for however long it takes to get back into port. That would be my luck.
There's places like the Baltic Sea one. The Baltic Sea is really usually never that that bad.
Well,
as far as-
seas usually aren't. It's
Yeah.
the ocean that's,
Yeah, and that whole going around like Norway and all up in there, the water isn't usually very bad. And I think when you're on the Alaskan one, you always see shore. I'm pretty sure you're not like way out at sea. That's the part that I don't like, is the way out at sea.
How about the people that do going around Drake's Passage, and you see when you go around it, oftentimes you get the Drake shake, and your cruise ship
Yep.
is like.
Oh,
No,
God.
see that I would not like.
And I watched those videos. It's unbelievable.
No.
Honey, we were on the
Sweating.
big red boat once, weren't we?
Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
disaster.
that was.
Yeah,
I don't
with the kids,
remember
yeah.
it at all. I don't even remember.
You
being
remember
on
the
it.
tornado that went right over the top of us, don't you?
Well, it
I don't
was-
remember being on the boat at all.
You don't?
No.
Really?
Nope.
You were kind of
How old
little.
were you?
Oh, gosh.
How old was I?
It was the
I
year
think
when
you were maybe 8 or 9, and Alex was 6 or 7.
Yeah, 6 or 7.
Something
Wow.
like that.
That's a real
Indeed.
blackout.
I have a lot of those actually. Entire trips, I just don't remember at all.
I wonder why that is.
Because I was on all sorts of behavioral modification
No,
medications
not
back
when you were
then.
that young.
At 8?
No.
You don't think so?
It wasn't until I think 5th grade teachers forced you to take Ritalin for a while.
Ah,
I took you off that real fast.
yeah, fun
Yeah,
stuff.
That was bad stuff for you.
No question. Yeah, what was the name of the perfect storm? The
Yep.
tornado that went over our boat when we were on the big red boat was part of the perfect storm. It
was?
moved further northwest and it met the other 2 storms and turned into that.
Gloucester, the perfect storm in Gloucester that made they do the movie.
They did the movie, yeah.
I remember trying to sleep, and the waves were so big you were raised off of your mattress and then smashed down into your mattress. Off your mat. It
Yeah.
was all night long. Kids were vomiting in the hallways and the elevators. No, they never
must have just
warned
blocked it
anybody.
out,
They never
'cause-
warned anybody, like, take your Dramamine. It's going to be rough out there.
The perfect storm was in 1991, so I would have been barely 6.
Yeah, I don't think you were that young.
Yeah.
We were on that boat,
So
though.
it was
I
a
know
different
that.
perfect storm.
No, it was not the different perfect storm. That was the one. So you were 6 and 4.
Well, that would explain why I don't remember
That
it.
would explain why they don't
That would
remember
make
it.
more
Yep.
sense.
I remember petting dolphins. I remember the stuff that we did on shore. The land excursions were fun, but the boat itself was not a very nice boat, and I remember them not being very, I remember one morning, we all go down, have breakfast. Remember I gave them a scathing review, and the woman and one of the travel agents called the press and said that I was lying because I said most of the cruise was, on the comment card, I had some positive things to say, but then when you went on the air, I think you ripped them because the milk was sour and
It was,
the
yeah.
ship was not very nice and they didn't warn us about the heavy seas, all this stuff. And so she called the press and there was like this big to do
I remember
about
that,
how I was my comment card didn't reflect your opinions or something. I remember having to like call people and be very angry with them because it's like I wasn't lying about anything. Yes, there were some good aspects of the cruise. Yes, there were.
There's always going to be good and bad. If
Well,
you're,
yeah, and
unless it's a total
Right.
nightmare, unless it's a poop cruise, you know.
Yes.
yeah,
And I mean,
no.
it was a comment card. It said, "How was the shore excursions? Those were great." And I told them I didn't. The food was bad,
Right.
and
Yep.
this was bad, and that was bad, but these things were great. And then
Yeah,
she used it against me. This travel agent decided to go after me in the
I
press.
remember that. Yeah.
And like, has cruise ship food gotten better? I don't know. I just
Yes.
always find it very kind of bland, I guess.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, like I said,
agree.
there's different cruises. There's destination cruises where you're seeing a bunch of different countries in a short amount of time, and you're getting off the ship all the time. There's the booze cruises where you're just sitting there around the pool getting drunk. I have no interest in that. The destination cruises, you can see a lot of stuff without having to change hotels, take trains, take planes. You just see a lot of countries. Those are interesting to me, but not the just floating around at sea getting drunk.
Well,
No.
the Miami to Cuba one was good.
Yes. As
That
a
was
matter of
really
fact,
good.
I think that was a Viking ship. Those are smaller ships,
Okay.
and it's just not as it's not entertainment heavy, with the shows and all
Yeah.
that stuff. It
Right.
doesn't have a
Yes.
casino. It is not for people that just want to get hammered at the
No,
bar all day.
it's not
yeah,
at
it's a
all.
different experience altogether.
I actually want to do one of the river cruises. They do
Yeah.
the Christmas markets,
Yeah.
and oftentimes you do 2 cities in a day.
Yep.
Because I'm like, I just want my little Hallmark cruise, just floating down the river and shopping for Christmas items.
Yeah, we
That's
did-
like my ideal.
We did one of those. We got on in Switzerland, and we ended up in Amsterdam.
Yep.
Did you like it?
That was very nice.
It was
yes.
really nice. Yep.
But sometimes
Did you-
you're seeing so many countries because on the river, you cross the river and it's a different country, and you cross the river and sometimes it's like, where were we?
Like, were we in Switzerland or Germany? Or
We were in all of them, but
Did you do Viking? I know Viking
yeah,
does them.
that we did Viking.
I remember it was a great trip, though.
Yes,
it was really nice.
It was very nice.
The Cuban people could not have been nicer either. Very, very nice people.
Yeah, the trip to Cuba from I think we
Miami.
departed from Miami. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
we
was
did.
that was nice.
Indeed, went with a bunch of friends. There were a total 8 of us, something like that.
That was really fun.
It was really a great trip. But the great thing about, have you ever been to Cuba, Kristen?
I have not.
The great thing about it is you call a taxi, and a guy pulls up 10 minutes later in a 1955 Oldsmobile.
So cool.
Without a scratch on it.
Not a scratch on it.
Beautiful.
But they've
yeah.
all been converted
Yep.
to diesel engines
diesel
because
engines,
they
yeah.
don't have any refined gasoline there, really, that's affordable.
I'll never forget that.
So they're belching out black smoke.
And you
Oh,
also
no.
have, what's the dance club called? The Tropicana?
The Tropicana.
And what's the name of that troupe there, all the dancing women?
The Tropicana dancers? I don't know.
No, there's a specific name for them. They had,
Oh, I don't know.
some of their hats had little palm trees on them.
Oh, yeah, and the feathers,
Oh,
the
yeah.
big showgirl things. you
Yeah, the
know?
Very
showgirls.
big showgirl.
And then
thing,
you need
yeah.
neck surgery and 10 years later.
exactly.
It's true. Actually, my friend was a Las Vegas showgirl, and she said the amount with those heavy headdresses, she said the amount of damage you do to your neck
Oh,
and your
wow.
shoulder and upper
yeah.
spine. She's like, a lot of the showgirls, especially if you do the show for a very long time, require surgery later on in your life.
Really?
And
Jeez.
our waiter came over. He probably does this to everybody, I would think. I think you were there. I'm pretty sure you were there. He came over. Well, you're very, very lucky. I said, oh, why is that? He goes, you know who used to sit at this table all the time when he'd come to Cuba? I said, no, who? Dean Martin.
Ooh.
You don't know if that's true or not. He might be just making it up as he goes along.
I like it though.
I know.
I'll like lean into that.
Dean Martin, yeah, Ricky Ricardo would come down once in a while. Yeah, it's the Tropicana, right?
Yeah.
The hotel.
Yep.
That was a great trip. Everybody was one guy was a dink among all the people we met, and he was easy to calm down.
Well, the whole thing's outdoors. The whole Tropicana Club
Yeah,
is basically
it is.
outside.
Yep.
Yeah, there's just people everywhere dancing around. It's fun.
Where's the great place where everybody goes now from America? Is there one place like that used to be? I suppose back in the 40s and 50s, going to Cuba was probably pretty common. I would guess.
When was the embargo or whatever?
59.
Was the
is that
first
correct?
I don't know. The dirty little secret is that if you there's always been flights from Miami to Cuba.
Yes, there have. You're absolutely
It doesn't matter what
right.
the United States says.
Yeah.
They're
60.
always
People go through
flying in and
Canada
out.
too.
The
Yeah.
first Cuban
Fly up to Canada and then
embargo
fly down.
was 1960.
Yeah, so it was a year.
So, yeah.
'cause that whole thing went down in 1959. I remember that. So that would make sense.
Was that the missile crisis?
Yep.
Yep. The Cuban Missile Crisis, JFK. That would have been 60 then. Yeah, 1960. Because he became president at the end of 60, right? Mm-hmm. There you have it. And they, I just, they're always, we haven't been to very many places where we went, oh, God, I'd never come back here. There have been a couple, but not very many.
No, I don't like the Bahamas much.
There's nothing to do.
It's just no.
People just go to Atlantis and just kind of park themselves there. And
Yeah.
that to me is not the type of vacation I like to do. I do like,
No.
I don't necessarily need an active vacation where from sun up to sundown, I'm like on the go, but I do like a vacation that I have activities planned. I get to see outside my resort if I'm going to do a resort vacation.
Yeah, that's the problem I think with all of the island vacations is you go see a sanitized market designed just
Yeah.
for tourists and you don't
Yeah.
and you're really not supposed to go anyplace else and I don't really like
Yeah.
that. I like to be able to feel like I can go places if I'd like to without causing a ruckus.
Where's that one?
And
No, very quickly. What was that one place we went that was really, really nice? God, I was trying to think of when that was, and people said, don't go there, you're not going to like it. I can't remember where it was.
Cuba?
No, it wasn't
Possibly.
Cuba, because nobody
did
believed
you
we
do
actually went to Cuba.
Jamaica or
We went to the Dominican Republic.
Dominican
Yeah,
Republic,
we went to the
there.
DR
That was
a few
good.
times. We like that.
Most of the trips we've been on, I can't remember one that I hated the whole thing.
No, well, we always stayed in nice places
Yeah.
and we got it figured out. It's all about trip planning. You don't just fly by the seat of your pants when you're going to a foreign country, ever.
One thing you do when you go to Cuba, too, you got to get to know some of the concierge people really well because they'll tell you stuff they don't tell anybody else. How, like, certain Cubans would come back from acting in Los Angeles and they'd come back to Cuba and they always wanted to see the dog fights and all these really violent
Cockfights.
sports.
They like cockfights, yeah.
They just
Oh,
love
yeah.
that stuff, I guess. I don't really get it myself, but, you know, a little boxing. Oh, some children just walked in. I
Cheap
can see 'em.
entertainment. People
Yeah,
in
I
Cuba don't
guess.
have any money for anything else.
They really did not. And by the way, every meal you get is chicken.
Hello.
There's no beef. There's no. It could be fish.
How about
I guess.
fish? I was
Yeah,
gonna
it's
say
got to be
fish.
fish
I would imagine.
on the island. But yeah, chicken is very, very big. The chicken's good in Cuba. Don't get me wrong. It's really good chicken, but there's a lot of it.
I get
Oh,
the
is
chicken
it- God,
icks
is
if
it-
I have too much chicken.
Is it 10 o'clock already? I didn't know. Really?
10 o'clock? Why would we get here at 10?
Why would you get here at 10:30?
I don't know.
There's your answer.
Hey, trying to...
We were just talking to Kristen about Cuba and great trips we've been on and all the rest of it.
Of course.
It was wonderful.
Which all this stemmed from the fact that I was in D.C. for 4 days.
Yes.
Well,
I just
technically,
got home.
it all stemmed from the fact that we need to watch the poop cruise. So,
Poop cruise.
I will-
So we started with the poop cruise.
yes.
Ew,
Yeah.
I will not be watching that.
Do you
Okay.
know what it is?
Yeah, it's that cruiser everybody got.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Norovirus or
No,
whatever.
it's the generators failed and the toilet's all backed up.
Oh, that.
The one that's on Netflix right now.
It's
I
on-
re-
Big
I remember
smile.
seeing something that it was like, I
I think it popped up as trending.
I was like horribly disturbed on this awful cruise and like they're profiting off of it and stuff.
Did they get a lot of compensation, the passengers? I hope.
I would
They,
hope.
they got a refund, and they got
At the least.
$500.
No.
Yeah, I do believe that. $500.
$500.
And I think that they got, a discount or something toward their next cruise.
Hello.
Come on
Sage.
in, Ross.
Sage. Yeah, move.
Oh, Sage is going to move down to the end? Oh, you get to be at the head of the table, do you, Sage?
Yeah, here.
No, we
here's
need
great.
you there. Sorry.
Sorry.
Oh,
sorry.
Fawn's going to sit at the head of the table.
Why not?
Big shot.
No one knows what we're talking about.
Well, Ross is coming in to join us, so they'll know about it soon enough. Because, God, I can't believe your segment goes by so quickly. You only got 6 minutes left.
Hey, we had a lot of poop cruise
We had a lot to talk
information.
about.
Yeah,
lot of
that
poop
poop cruise
cruise
took up,
information.
dominated a lot of the conversation. You can thank Charlie for that because I was like, I
Those
had it on my
don't
list the
work.
other day, and then I wasn't here for a few days, and then Charlie
None of-
jumped in and he said, "Hey, I'm watching the poop cruise tonight. I'm like, oh, I will bring that up tomorrow.
So as you go through the transition, have you told Fawn and Sage yet that they have to clean our house when we get back? You have to do all the dishes.
Sage would do it for money.
Yeah, Sage would do it for money.
Yeah. Sage,
need another-
Sage,
oh,
Sage
they're
likes
all
making
gone.
some cash.
That's motivation. I like
Yeah,
it.
he's motivated by money. Fawn, can't get her to do anything.
She has no interest
princess.
in doing anything. That's nice.
I'm kidding. She gave me the look like, what?
Nana asked her to clean the fridge once.
The mini
the
fridge.
mini fridge back there. And she said she would do it for $2, and then she never actually did it.
Oh, she got the $2, but
I bet
never
you
did
you
it.
would do it for $2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you-
didn't. No, she never did it.
No, you would do it for $2.
I know, I would, but Fawn didn't get the $2.
Way
No.
to go,
Sage
Fawny.
rates. There's a lot of inflations. I would say like $5.
Hey,
Yeah,
don't
yep.
listen to her. We don't live in LA.
Oh, true.
Costs you $100 every time you go out of your house.
Ross just joined you. Ross, you ever talked to Kristen Burt before?
I don't know if we've ever officially met in any capacity, Kristen. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. How are you?
You know, just enjoying another fall-like Minnesota morning
You got
in,
that
Yeah,
right.
sweatshirt weather here.
late June.
It's so cold in
Sweat-a-wet.
the studio.
I just
It's
came.
really cold in here.
Yeah, it's
I'm
very
like,
cold.
it's
I just
colder
came
in here
from.
than it is outside.
I just came from. It feels like 106 in DC to what is it today?
Feels like-
65.
Yeah, feels like 60 of
64.
that. Yeah.
I
Were
had
you
a-
able to enjoy DC with all of that heat?
You know, we did. You go into the Smithsonian, and it's all air conditioning. We went into the Capitol. That was nice and chilly. We took that tunnel down to the Library of Congress. That's all nice and chilly. So if you stay indoors, but
were good.
none of the sidewalk cafes had a person at them. It looked like the city was abandoned. It wasn't. It was very, very busy, but it was just hot. You just felt like a glass of iced tea in the sun all the time. You're just sweating.
Oof.
Yeah, it was.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal, and it's early in the year for it. That usually happens about mid-July, I guess. The city empties out, and then August, no one's there because it's so awful. But we just happened to hit a heat wave. Lucky us.
Lucky you.
Lucky us.
No
But yeah,
getting around it. Kristen, what was that
fun.
movie you told me to watch? Because I never got a chance to watch it, and now I forgot what the name of it is.
oh boy,
I can't even.
that's specific.
I was gonna say the amount of recommendations for television
Yeah.
that all of us
I
have
give
given
recommendations all the time, and they go.
Yeah.
They just like go up. Let's see.
I live
I
a
don't
busy
know.
life,
Do you know
you
who
know.
it starred?
watching so much TV.
Alex, what was the movie? Reconcile, or what is it?
I have no idea.
Recompense? Started with an R.
Recompense.
It started with
Probably.
an R. I know
I don't
that.
know.
Probably both of those.
We could go back and listen to the podcast. And,
Yeah, that's what I hope.
No, and I was like,
Anyone
what day
in the
did I
chat
recommend
Yeah.
it?
Like-
have any idea what
yeah,
he's
I
talking about?
recommended a bunch of stuff to you the other day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
sure
It
you
started with
didn't
an R.
Listen to any of it. Oh, The Residents? Are you
The
talking about what
Residents.
I
Oh, yes.
recommended to
Yes.
you?
Yes.
Not
And you also
Kristen.
recommended Split.
I
Yes,
did.
you did recommend
Yes.
Split?
Split is good.
We could watch this Split tonight.
You can't watch Split.
Oh.
You cannot watch Split.
Nice try though.
He's like, ah.
I think it's rated PG-13.
I think it's rated
I like his
R.
confidence, by the way. This is
does.
good.
This is
Oh,
what we
he's
do.
got enough confidence for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if I can, somebody in a podcast, somebody that was 5, their parents let them watch PG-13, and they were only 5.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
I don't know if I do
Tisk,
that.
tisk.
Look out for that one as he grows.
I know.
I don't
Or
think
she.
so.
Wait till he's a teen.
Either
He's
one.
going to be negotiating and bargaining with you all the
He's been
time.
negotiating and bargaining since he learned how to talk.
Kristen, I've heard you talk about this before. I'm going to hijack for one question. Is that okay?
Perfect.
Absolutely.
I feel like you're living in either the golden age of what you do because there's so much to talk about and so much to cover, or do you look at it the other way and just say there's too much out there because there's so many different platforms and not all of it is good or newsworthy? How do you view
Yeah.
that?
I actually, it's too much from an entertainment reporter standpoint in terms of in the last, I would say 5 to 8 years, trying to focus. You can't just say, well, what are you going to be, a Netflix expert, or you know what I mean, a Disney
Right.
Plus expert? There's so much content out there that you really do have to pick and choose and where your bandwidth goes, because there are only so many shows I can watch in a day. And oftentimes I'll get screeners and they give you, like, let's say 3 to 5 screeners ahead of time, but there's still another 5 left to go. And you think, did I finish watching that series,
Right.
after it comes out? And you get a lot of like, I started it, I never finished it, and then you have to go back and watch it again. So there's a lot of start and stops. And there, at the end of the day, in my free time, at 7 p.m., I don't want to be watching TV because I've been watching and covering it all day
Yeah.
long. So
Right.
it's,
That makes sense.
It's kind of a curse and a blessing at the same time.
Yeah.
I know you got to go, so I'm going to close with this. Kristen, you need to go back and listen to yesterday's episode, because there was a mom on there yesterday. Her son was on the 3rd floor of the Mall of America, and this guy came over, and he was whispering to the kids that he was going to do something to them, but the mother didn't know. The mother was sitting right where Seiji is now.
It was in the food court, right?
No, it was
Picked
by
up-
Rainforest Cafe.
Yep.
Yeah, Rainforest. Picked up her 5-year-old son and threw him off the 3rd floor balcony.
I remember that
This
story.
was a big internet.
She was,
That was
phenomenal.
national
You have to
news,
listen to
yeah,
that
it was.
episode. It was phenomenal. And then Neil Justin came in from the Star Tribune, and he did a bunch of interviews. What's that look over there?
He hates you, right? I mean, that's.
That's what everybody thinks, but he and I are friends. It's hilarious.
I know. I even listened to it. I just had to play into it.
It's true, though. Everybody thinks that Neil and I hate one another. It's like he writes what he sees, and I say what I say. It's like they don't have to be the same. We don't have to agree on who I am. Whatever.
I do agree with you, by the way. It was a great listen. To have that mindset after what happened to a family is incredible.
It was unbelievable.
And the child's okay. Just
The child's okay
Yes.
now. He's
FYI.
11 years old now. He was 5 when he was thrown off the balcony.
Wow.
But his heart stopped, and he stopped breathing, but then all of a sudden popped back up. And she said, the mother said, I always knew that God wouldn't do that to me.
I don't think he popped up.
No, I
Well,
mean
no,
his
it-
breathing popped up.
Yeah.
I
popped
say I don't
on,
think he was
guess.
like, all right, ready to go.
Okay, let's get back up on the
Starts
3rd
walking
floor.
around,
Lazarus.
goes over, rides a ride.
I know. We actually, the kids and I went to a mall yesterday after that interview, and I was like, stay close. Stay
Do
close.
not talk
Yes.
to any
So,
strangers.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah, exactly. The guy's still in prison. He'll be in prison for at least another 19 years for what he
Good.
did.
well, no, she said that he got a 19-year sentence, and that was 6 years ago, but he could go out on parole in
31.
2031.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it
That's
was?
soon.
Yeah,
I know.
Sure
Think
is.
about it.
But she was like, I don't care. I don't think about him. I have no.
Yeah.
What his life does not concern me. I don't want to think about him ever again. I don't care.
This is what to go out with this one, Kristen, because I know you got to go. This guy, it just, the whole story, the reason he threw a 5-year-old off the 3rd floor balcony, and those floors are a lot deeper than 10 feet. They're
Yeah, they're huge.
She said it was
huge.
38.
Yeah, 31 feet or something like
38, I
that.
think it was 38
30
feet.
something.
40 feet, 40 feet.
Was it 40 feet?
Okay, then.
Just like I'll tell you.
Our fact checker.
exactly what to do.
Our
Bob
7-year-old
Hope
fact
said
checker.
2 days ago that
well, just she said 30 something yesterday.
Okay, well, to close, again, if I can remember what the hell I was going to
Close, Tom.
say. I was going to say something, but no, she was just so amazing.
Oh, the whole reason why.
The reason why he's
Oh.
picked up a 5-year-old and threw him off the 3rd floor balcony, because he hit on a woman and she rebuked him.
a
in the
couple
mall.
days before.
Yeah, a couple days before. He asked her to go out, and she said no.
good reason.
Came back 2 days later and threw a 5-year-old over the balcony.
Well, he was
Yeah,
trying to
that's
find
not the reason. I would say it's mental illness.
That's
just maybe.
the reason.
Maybe.
If that was the reason, do you know how many kids I would have thrown off balconies
Yeah.
around the state of
You'd
Minnesota?
still be doing it.
Exactly.
Be
Let's
unbelievable.
not,
Kids,
let's not make this a precedent.
No.
Yes, let's not.
No.
Kristen, thank you. Wonderful show. Glad to have you back after your long vacation.
My long 2-day work vacation.
Oh yeah, you
Speaking
never
of
said. Do you know? Can you say what set you were on?
Oh, I was working down at KPBS.
Oh, there you go.
That's what I
Down in
thought.
San
Yeah.
Diego.
That's what I thought. We will see you on Monday.
You all on Monday. Have a
Bye.
good weekend.
Kristen
Bye,
Bird.
Russ. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Absolutely. Kristen Bird Entertainment, would you not do that while I'm reading, please? Every day I have to tell them to pipe down.
This is what it
Kristen
is.
Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Be right back in a couple minutes. More. But Ross joins us right after this. From Bradshaw and Bryant, Michael Bryant. What's up, Pally?
Oh, not much. Doing my usual thing of telling people they shouldn't be texting and driving. In Minnesota, you can't have your phone in your hands. You can use, hands-free, but you can't have your phone in your hands for whatever reason. And that's why they made the law the way they did, so that police officers could see a phone in your hand and you got no excuse for why you got it there.
Do people know that that's the law?
I hope so. I mean, they used to follow it, and then kind of COVID kind of made people forget, and now it's like a freewheeling world out there with cell phones.
Let's say you get pulled over because you do have a phone in your hand and you're not watching where you're going. You got to be in pretty big trouble then, I would guess.
Well, the first one's not as bad. It's the multiple ones, the problem. And once people start stacking them up, then they have a big problem. And then what we're doing in car accidents is we've started bringing motions for punitive damages, because I'm trying to use the civil law any way we can to stop this, because it needs to stop.
Whenever I'd had any problems in my life, who was that I called again? It was like an MB, something like that.
Bradshaw and Bryant.
Let's take a second to talk about my bank. That'd be North American Banking Company. As a business owner, you're always looking for opportunities to grow, and that's where North American Banking Company can help you. Their business banking team offers tailored solutions, whether you're expanding your team, opening a new location, or upgrading equipment. Because they're locally owned, loan decisions are made right here in the Twin Cities, which means faster approvals and more flexibility to meet your needs. If you're ready to take your business to the next level, why not bank with my friends at North American Banking Company? Visit nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. There you go. We are back, ladies and gentlemen.
Every time that song plays, I expect Dave Matthews to show up.
Yeah. Kind of his deal.
Exactly.
Mom's got a toothless over there.
Mom's toothless.
This was one of Sage's birthday presents.
Yep.
We were just talking about going to see that this weekend.
It's
maybe.
so good.
So there you go.
Ethan
And,
would
yeah,
not.
theater.
We're not gonna
10.
bring Ethan.
I was gonna say, don't
No.
bring him.
No.
But it's so good.
Yeah, do theater 10. There's like screens
Theater
on
X.
this side. Theater X.
It's an
We're not
X
B10.
screen.
We're not
Screen
Romans.
X
Yeah,
or whatever.
We're not Roman. That's right.
Yeah, and then there's screen X's when there's like screens on the sides.
It was so
So it's
cool.
an immersive experience,
It was
would you
so
say?
cool.
And
Where
we're
was this?
probably gonna get Elio.
Yeah, we're gonna see
It's at-
Elio this weekend.
It's at
Yeah.
Marcus Theaters.
Marcus Theaters.
Well, I don't know if there's screen X's in other places, but
I think there is in Plymouth. Isn't there?
No,
that-
because
that
that's a
one?
man, isn't it?
I don't know. Everybody
it
bought
is.
everybody. I don't know what anything is anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. Just
Some
look
have
for screen
closed.
X's near me or whatever. But it was
All right then. I never even heard
so
of that.
cool.
What is a Screen X?
It's so you go in the. I accidentally bought tickets to this
Accidentally. Yeah, thank you.
situation. On his birthday, How to Train Your Dragon, the live action movie came out, and we.
On the 12th.
Well, no, it came on the 13th. Sage, stop
But
interrupting.
then how do people?
Just tell him he's right, and we can
Then
move on with
how
things.
do people go on the 12th to see it?
Every
Like I've
once in
been
a while,
doing.
certain theaters have like an early release showing. Anyway, that's not the point of the story.
Not on my birthday again. Ever again.
Oh, God. Okay.
Continue, Alex.
We sit in the theater, and it just looks like a screen in the front.
I can
And-
interrupt as much as I want.
You might
No,
leave.
you're going to be
But
banished
you-
from the studio if you keep it up,
Yes.
okay? So please stop so
Ooh,
your mom can
Nana's
finish.
kicking you out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So your story.
Anyway, and then all of a sudden the movie starts, and the sides, like the walls on the sides, have the movie on them.
Really?
Yeah, and
So
like
it's like
the
ultra
whole,
widescreen format.
but it would like it's a
Tunnel? You feel like you're in a tunnel?
Do you
no.
watch the movie on the side screens, or
Yes.
is it okay? See, I
But
think that
it's-
would confuse me.
But I was a little bit worried that I was going to get motion sickness because
Okay.
I just I do all the time, and so I was like, if this whole movie is like this, I might get sick. But it took a minute or two, but then I adjusted to it, and it was only on the walls. It went in and out of being just in the front and then on the walls, and it was only really on the walls during like big landscape or like when they're flying,
Yeah.
and it
Oh,
was
okay.
like big things. I
So
mean,
they shot special
Yes,
scenes
yes.
for that format. Interesting.
which it was beautiful when it was on the walls. It was really, really cool.
Well,
Highly
was a,
recommend.
There was a theater in St. Louis Park, right here in St. Louis Park, called the Cooper.
Oh, the
And when
Cooper was
it
the
opened,
best theater.
The screen went all the way around, like behind your head. It was
Like IMAX.
unbelievable.
It had
Situation.
ushers and red
Usher-
carpet and
really
a
good.
smoking section
Yep.
and a
Yeah.
crying room and
Crying room.
It was amazing.
I'd need to go in there to see certain movies.
How often do you guys get to movies? I used to go.
Never.
Ever.
Okay, so
go-
pre-COVID, not like COVID didn't change it. It just kind of changed my habits, or it didn't. I'm not scared to go to a movie theater, but I used to go probably once a week because I always thought that movies were a great mini vacation.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah,
You go
yep.
there.
Especially in the
Yep.
summer
Yep.
when it's hot.
You turn your phone off. Nobody can get a hold of you. It's just I don't know,
Right.
give or take 2 hours of zen. I haven't done it as often, but I really want to get back into it for the same reasons that I just said. You know, the buzz term. So I think some people overuse it, but for mental health, I think it is good to just have that
Sure.
unwind time. And movies have always been that for me. Now,
Yep.
however,
Yep.
all the streaming services make it easier to not go.
stay home.
But I
Yes.
do have one movie theater complaint. We've made them too nice. Like now, when you go, somebody can bring you a pizza, bring you chicken
Yeah,
tender.
yep.
Yeah.
I just need popcorn and a
drink.
pop, and I can get it myself.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not. Again, now there's theaters for everybody, and if you like that, go ahead. But I just charge me my $7 to $10 to see the movie when it's the discounted rate. I know they're more than that. Let me get a pop and popcorn. That's all I need. I don't need you to bring me sushi or some hand chef crafted chicken with mashed potatoes. I don't need that at the movie theater.
Yeah.
I don't need it at a baseball game either,
I
by
do
the way.
like the nice reclining chairs.
That's nice.
Yes.
That's really
The
nice. And
chairs,
also
yes.
the
The heat.
Edina Theater has heat.
In the winter,
Oh,
great.
that's
Yeah,
really nice
yeah.
when it's cold outside. Or even when the air conditioner's just too high.
Oh, they love to run those.
Oh yeah, the
As-
kids always bring blankets.
Yeah.
Does any movie theater set their air like higher than 65 degrees?
I don't
They're
think so.
always freezing.
I'm
which-
guessing there's a reason for that, but I don't know what it could be.
Our problem is we can't find a movie we really want to go see anymore. There's just not that much out. I mean, when you've got kids, you go to the theater a lot because
You should, even as
Well-
an adult, go see How to Train Your
all
Dragon.
right, I'll
It
go
depends
see
on
it.
the age of the kids.
Yes, like Ethan.
With a
you can't bring
3-year-old,
him
you go
to
to
a
the
movie
theater 0 times ever.
Terrible.
No. Yeah,
I'm trying to think. The first time I brought Fawn to a movie, it was Frozen 2.
Oh, jeez. And she was so into
She was
it.
probably 3.
Frozen
was
2
so
came
into
out
it. She had
in
a Frozen-
2019.
She had a Frozen
6
outfit.
years ago. Yeah.
So, yeah,
she
she was
stood
3.
up and was doing this the whole
But she
entire
is.
time.
She was a very different 3-year-old than Ethan is.
Oh, yeah, I'm
like
sure.
polar opposite
Yep.
3-year-old than Ethan is.
Did
Like,
we
she-
still want to build a snowman in Frozen 2, or was that only Frozen
That
1?
was a 1.
That was one
was
because
one.
the snowman is like a main character.
They already built
Yeah.
the snowman. He's
Yes.
pre-built in 2.
He's already.
Yeah.
He's ready
He's
to go.
pre-built. He's ready-made.
Yes.
Yes.
He's a prefab
Yes.
snowman.
Yeah,
at
that was
this
the
point.
first movie Fawn went to. I can't think of the first movie. Oh, I think we took Sage. We saw Shrek 2 because we were supposed to do something, and then it ended up pouring rain that day, and so we looked at movies, and it was like you could go to see Shrek 2 for like $2.
Shrek $2?
Yeah,
I-
he was probably 3.
Well done, Andy. I think that Shrek, I want to say trilogy, but didn't they get up to 4 or 5?
Oh, there's at least
4.
4.
I think
I have
there's
no
4.
And if you're
Are there?
counting like Shrek
Puss in
the Halls and all
Boots
that
and
stuff.
crap, there's probably 73.
The first 3, I'm honestly not positive I've seen the 4th, but the first 3, incredible.
They're so good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Number 1, there's a part in the movie where the bird blows up when he's chirping. Do you remember this part? The bird
Oh,
just...
because it's because Snow White's singing.
Oh,
So
yeah.
high
Yeah,
pitched.
yeah, and the bird
yeah.
I have never laughed harder at a movie theater.
know.
And it's one of those movies that's great for kids, but I mean,
Yeah.
you can probably attest to this. One of the beauty of quote unquote children's movies is when they can still speak to adults and
Yes.
adults
Yeah.
will laugh at it.
For sure.
That's what
Shrek-
Pixar did really well
Yes.
for a long
Yeah.
time.
Yes,
They
they
did.
always have done that.
Dad and I took the kids to see one of the Puss in Boots movies probably like 3 years ago, whenever it came out. And we were sitting behind a whole gaggle of like 13, 14-year-old boys.
Oh.
And I was like, oh no. At the beginning of the movie, I thought they were just going to be like loud and ridiculous and like not
On their
care.
phones,
They were
yeah.
silent. They laughed when things were funny. At the end of the movie, they all stood up and one of them went, bro, that movie was awesome. And
Love it.
I was
Love
like,
it.
Well, he's a
This
sword
is-
fighting cat.
I was
mean,
like,
you
this
know.
is so sweet that like
Yeah.
like teenage boys don't like anything.
Yeah, I remember going through a phase where I was definitely like too cool for
Yeah,
anything.
like they don't
Yeah.
like anything. But
Yeah.
seeing this, there was probably like
Puss in
6
Boots,
of them.
too, of all
and yeah,
things.
bro, the movie was awesome. And I was like, oh, I love.
When did the Lego movie come out? Because I had a similar
Ages ago.
experience, but I was much older. I was probably in my mid to late 20s.
2014.
Okay, so yeah,
Okay.
what year is this? 29.
11 years ago.
I was in my
11 years ago.
late 20s at the time, and I go with a bunch of friends that I've known forever.
Wait a minute, you're not 40.
I'll be 39 in October.
Honest
Hey,
to
me too.
God.
Hey!
Andy too. That's right.
26.
Team 39, October 2nd.
Second
so
October
you
2nd.
are older than me.
So I got you by
Very close.
24 days. But it was a bunch of, I guess we'll call it almost 30-year-olds, and then families and children. And I think the people that laughed the hardest were us.
Yeah.
I mean, I was so impressed by that movie, and I know they've done a couple since then. But again, movies are great. I understand what you, Catherine. I go through the same thing every now and then, where I'll go, I'll go back to the theater,
Nothing to see.
and it just seems like it's not only that there's nothing to see. It's, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, it felt like there were 15 movies at the movie theater.
Yeah.
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 Now
there's
there's
3.
7
Yeah.
max,
Right, yeah.
and 3 of them are, I don't know. But I do always try. If I make a
Everything's a
conscious
remake.
effort, I can find one that I go, okay, this doesn't look great, but I'm
Right.
not necessarily always going for the movie. I'm just going for the escape.
That's what we did with the last movie I think we went and saw was that Christmas one with The Rock.
Oh, that was
Right,
That
right.
was
Red or whatever?
Red,
Yeah.
Red one?
yeah.
Red,
Red
red
one.
one. Yeah.
yeah.
Red
I
one.
wanted to see that. I did not. I'm a big Christmas movie guy. Was it
Because-
okay?
Yeah, it was actually okay. We were expecting nothing. We just wanted to go to a movie.
The Rock is very underrated.
Yeah.
I think we rate him. I think a lot of people rate him properly, but I think he's better than we give him credit
Yeah,
for.
I thought it was pretty good. I know it
probably.
got panned and nobody else liked it, but we liked it.
Yeah,
Oh,
we did.
Last movie I saw in theaters was Godzilla vs. Kong.
And that would have been, when was that?
5 years ago, I
Okay.
think. I know it was with
Really?
Melissa.
5 years?
2021, yep. Almost, it was 4 years ago. So,
Yeah, there was something more magical when Disney had their big release every year of some movie, and
Yeah.
you couldn't get it on your TV right away, and you.
That's the thing is we just wait a month and then we
went.
watch it at home. Why not?
Well, and you're paying so much for streaming services, you don't feel like going and
Yep.
spending $40 at the movie theater.
Yep.
I go to movies all the time. I don't know. Not all the time, but like, depending on the movie. Like I saw Wicked in theaters, and I will see the second Wicked in theaters. And there are certain How to Train Your Dragon. We're going to see like all the kids' movies. I typically go see in theaters with the kids because I'm like, that's a
It's
fun.
a fun family experience. Yes.
Yeah, and like my kids
absolutely.
are ages where they share a little popcorn, they each get a candy, they bring their own water bottles and have a little blanket and a squishmallow, and during sad parts, Sage always climbs into my chair with me, and it's fun.
I do
But
that
then-
with Catherine.
Yes.
Do the movie theaters you guys go to, I guess probably more specifically speaking to you, Alex, do they still do the like buy the large or extra large and you get the refills
Oh,
or whatever?
yeah,
Okay,
yep.
so
Yes.
here's a story, very innocent, mild, very, very petty theft. Years ago, it used to be like the large plastic bag, or not plastic bag, or whatever it would be, that paper bag. Now a lot of them are tubs, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, the popcorn bags?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would come back a week or two later with that popcorn bag
Wow.
Cheap son
and,
of a.
and have them
What
fill
a
it.
hack, though! What a hack!
It's a great hack
It is.
until they've changed the bag and you didn't notice.
Oh,
And you walk up there
Uh-oh.
and they go, "Sir, we swapped out that bag last week."
whoops.
Oh, I don't know where I got this
This
from.
is a blue one.
I'm sorry.
I found
Must have been the
it.
last one on top of the machine.
I remember when you were at KQ
Yeah.
and you were doing food or not food, and we were at a movie theater, and they were pouring this butter substance all over the all over the popcorn, and I could
Not
read
food.
I could read that it had 455
Oh,
ingredients. So I said,
Butter
this would be-
topping. They call it butter topping.
This would be a really good one
Yes.
for the morning show. So you brought that in and
Yep.
read. I don't think anybody got what it was.
No.
That it was supposed to be butter topping.
I asked at a movie theater eons ago, like 20 years ago, I asked for extra butter because I love that stuff. I know it's bad for me,
Butter
but
is
It's
good for
delicious.
you.
Dang,
It's full of vitamin
well,
D.
butter,
real
actual
butter.
butter.
The real
actual,
butter.
yeah, real
Yeah.
butter
Not
is.
the
Whatever.
seed oil.
salt
Yep.
concoction.
Yeah.
I
No.
kid you not, the bottom of my bag was
doing that,
like
yep.
That might be a little over.
a
the
half
popcorn's,
an
like,
inch.
wet.
Yeah, oh yeah, and just
Yeah,
like
you
a
can
half
dip
an
it.
inch
Yep.
of
He's
butter.
just drinking it.
Yeah, just disgusting.
I remember doing that.
Is it all of you guys, or is it Tom? You're a big scary movie guy, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
me, I like
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
Yep.
that's
Not me.
ironically for some reason, maybe ironically is not the right word, but that's the one genre I struggle to watch, and I've always pinpointed it to this. I don't like. There's some that I okay, the Scream franchise, but that's more comedy. That's definitely
Yeah, it's
horror,
like a
but it's
self-parody
That's
almost.
Correct.
Yeah.
and like the Halloween movies, I can do that. But do you know what? I put my finger on this years ago, and I think this is why I don't enjoy scary movies. It's not that I get scared, although I do. That's what you're supposed to do.
Is it that you hate the protagonists? Because that's what it is for me. It's always like, you're so dumb, you deserve to die.
Well,
I'm
okay,
sorry.
so that is a part of it. But you
That's
kind of have to
nice.
suspend belief a little bit when you watch
Yes,
movies,
you
right?
do.
Especially in action and drama
Yes,
movies. You're like,
yes.
well, Tom Cruise isn't going to scale that 48-story building in real life by his hands. Okay, so
Yeah.
you kind of got to let some of that stuff go.
Yes.
I don't like watching scary movies and the people next to me get startled.
Oh,
And
yeah,
so
that
Oh, yeah.
startles
that
you. Yep.
startles me more than the actual movie.
I'm
That's
terrible. I get
sitting-
startled like
Yep.
Sitting with
And-
my
I even know
mom.
it's going to happen. I'm like, I
She's-
know the
yes.
guy's behind the thing, and I know he's going to jump out, and then I still jump.
Like she screams, there's popcorn in the air. I'm like, oh, mother, you need to calm down.
I don't know if I scream.
No, you like,
Shriek.
yeah, shriek.
Also, the Solo movie. I'm a big fan of going to a movie by yourself if
Oh,
you can.
yeah.
Well,
I don't
and-
know if I've ever been to a movie. by
Oh, it's
myself.
even, Catherine, it's even better when you go, and let's say you go, like, if I have a random Wednesday off Thursday, you go on, like, a Thursday at 12, and you get there, maybe I'm there at 11:50, movie starts at, like, 12, and you're just sitting around, and you're the only one in there. And with each passing minute, you're like, please don't let anybody else come in.
Yeah.
This is my movie theater today, and when you get
There
it,
you go.
it's an incredible experience. Like they put this movie on just for me today. Then I also have this thought, and maybe somebody knows, if nobody showed up to that movie,
Would they still
do they
play?
actually does the projector or
Yes.
do they run it?
Yes.
Yeah,
I have
they
actually
do.
looked this up before, and the
Maybe it's automatic or something.
most of it is automatic at this
Okay.
point, and they just
That's
don't
what I
bother.
thought.
They're like, whatever, I don't care. But
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
some of the older ones, especially the ones that don't use digital projectors, they won't, because those bulbs only have so many
Yes.
hours on
Blades
them,
in
Yep.
them.
and they'll intentionally save the bulbs.
That reminds me of, this might be the only sports thing I talk about today. The group, and it wasn't the St. Paul Saints, but the group that owned the St. Paul Saints and a bunch of other teams, one of their gimmicks that they did at one point was they did a baseball game where the fans couldn't enter until it was an official baseball game. So they played the first 5 innings of the game
Oh, God.
with nobody in the crowd.
What makes it official?
You have to play five
innings,
full innings for it
Yep.
to be an official game.
Oh,
So they played this
Okay.
entire baseball game, and they committed to it. They had ticket takers, but they weren't taking tickets. They had the concessions were open, but they weren't selling anything. There were vendors walking up and down the stairs doing the old peanuts, Cracker Jacks.
And nobody was in the
Baseball game was
stands.
happening. Not a soul in the park until they got to the 6th inning. For some reason, when I think of going to a movie by myself, that thought is like ingrained in my head. The baseball game that was played with no fans. Brilliant, because it wasn't even, when you do something like that, it's not for the people coming to the game. It's that some guy who lives states away is still talking about it years
Yeah,
later.
Yeah.
Right.
that's
So,
Yeah.
so
Yep.
it worked. But yeah, kind of a hilarious bit. There's a video of it, and it's incredible. You got an usher walking up and down the stairs.
No one's there.
Peanuts, Cracker Jacks, not a soul there.
Those were the good old days. We got to take a break in a second, but I got to mention, growing up in North Minneapolis, I really do miss going to the Empress or the Broadway or the Capri.
Oh,
or,
those old theaters were nice.
But the great part of it is the audience would comment on the movie, but not in a way that interrupted anything. Like there was one movie I'll never forget. This woman, it was a horror film, and she was very scared. Something was going on. She had to find her cat, so she found her cat, and she's walking down the stairs, going to go out the front door and get out of this horribly haunted house or whatever. And as she gets to the final step at the bottom, the cat jumps out of her arms and runs back upstairs. And this woman, she said the B word actually, but I won't. At the very loud voice, she goes, "Girl, you had one job." I just missed that so much. It was back in those days, and it was, they didn't go overboard and do it. you'd have little comments, maybe 2 or 3 thrown in a movie, and it was always hilarious.
I still love when a movie ends, no matter what type of movie, drama, comedy, horror, whatever, and people clap at the end.
We clap.
Yeah,
I've never
I love
seen
it. It's
that.
like, yeah,
We clap.
they can't hear you, but great.
We clap. We're like, yes.
I know. I've never seen
What a
someone
show.
clap for a movie, and I've never seen someone clap when a pilot lands a plane. But those are 2 things that allegedly happen all the time.
Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
clap at the end. If you go to a movie with
I-
the 3 of us, we will clap.
I've been on a plane where they've clapped.
Really?
before
Yeah.
because we were like
Turbulence was so
swoosh,
bad.
Yeah.
swoosh, and you
Yeah.
think
That's-
we're gonna crash, or that he's gonna have to just skip the landing altogether and try it again.
Yeah.
And then you get on a nice landing, and you're not bumping all over. And you're very
Yeah.
happy you're on the ground.
Or when
Yes.
everybody, like you land and everybody's like, ah.
Yeah.
It's just a big sigh of relief.
That's what I was going to say, Andy. That generally means your landings and the flights have been fairly uneventful
Yeah.
if nobody's
Yeah.
clapping,
That's
which is
true,
a
actually.
good thing.
Yeah.
A really good thing.
I have never had like a nightmare flight, which is interesting because I've flown quite a bit.
Yeah.
I had somebody fairly close to me. I know you got to go to
Knock on
break, so
wood.
I'll make this super quick. They had the old, shortly before landing on approach, hey, there's an issue with the plane. We're aware of it, yada, yada, yada. Okay, but they just, be advised. And I think they had to do the old, brace. But as they come around the corner for approach, pilots they're trained for this. They're
Yeah.
so low key.
Yep.
But as they come around the corner approaching this airport, they realize the runway is lined with emergency personnel.
Oh.
So it's probably more than a minor issue. It was the old the landing gear is down.
Oh, yeah.
We can't confirm that it's locked in place.
Oh yeah.
So first off, they had to do that. They did a go around where allegedly air traffic control says yes, your landing gear is down, but they don't know if it's locked. Like I think that was the
Right.
malfunction was
Right.
that they could tell they dropped it, but it didn't say that it was locked in place. But everything happy ending, everything was fine. But yeah,
You look out the window and there's a mortician rubbing his hands together.
Yeah, there you go. A lot of business.
I just love the minor issue, and then here you come around the corner. Oh, there's fire trucks and ambulances all over the runway.
We'll take a break, come right back. We're going to find out a lot of things about Ross I probably didn't even know. We're going to do the in-depth part of Ross.
We are we?
Deep
boy.
dive. Deep dive in Ross.
All your secrets.
Let's take a second to talk about my bank. That'd be North American Banking Company. As a business owner, you're always looking for opportunities to grow, and that's where North American Banking Company can help. Their business banking team offers tailored solutions, whether you're expanding your team, operating a new location, or upgrading equipment. Because they're locally owned, loan decisions are made right here in the Twin Cities, which means faster approvals, more flexibility to meet your needs. If you're ready to take your business to the next level, why not bank with my friends at North American Banking Company? Visit nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Sioux Falls, one of the most business-friendly states in the country. And there's no better place to settle down and take advantage of those incentives than in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. As the state's largest city with a metro population over 290,000, Sioux Falls has low business costs with a high quality of life. There's no state, corporate, or personal income tax, no inheritance tax, no limits to what your business can achieve. Catherine and I are talking about going. When are we going?
I don't know.
Well, we are going to South
Okay
Dakota.
then.
I know we're going for a 4-day weekend to South Dakota. South Dakota ranks among the top 10 states in the U.S. for tax friendliness, hardest working, health care, doctors, most popular to move to, inbound state for movers, listed in the 50 best places to live for families. Fastest growing Midwest metro, one of the best places to raise a family, one of the best small cities for Gen Z workers, national fourth top inbound city the people move to. How does South Dakota stack up against other states? We rank second in the nation for the lowest cost of doing business, the most business-friendly state, and the best business tax climate. And as South Dakota's biggest city, Sioux Falls is at the center of these benefits. Visit www.siouxfallsdevelopment.com. We are back in studio. Ross is with us. Now, Ross, how long have you been at Hubbard?
I have been in this stint 4 years in September. Prior to that, I was there for a few years. Then if you go back a long time ago, I worked there as a part-time employee for a couple of years.
Oh, what did you do as a part-time employee?
I did weekends on 1500 ESPN, and then I would do fill-in traffic and morning sports reports for a couple of years for Kenny Olson, who you just joined on
Yep.
News from the Krabby Coffee Shop, and at
Great
the time,
guy.
a gentleman by the name of Dave Harrigan, who I believe is still at WCCO Radio. I would fill in for both of them as needed. So
from what I understood, when they changed it from 1500 KSTP to 1500 ESPN, they just blacked out 6 to 10 because that's what I did at 1500 KSTP.
Yeah, exactly.
They just couldn't duplicate it. So
Actually, true story. I think when it went from AM 1500 to 1500 ESPN, you're probably not entirely wrong on that assessment. I don't think when they initially went, and I could be wrong on this, I'm not sure if they... No, I know this for a fact. They ran Mike and Mike in the morning, so they didn't go live until about 9 a.m. anyways.
Oh, okay.
So we did at the time, Mike and Mike, as you remember, they were across the country a big juggernaut. I mean, even as a sports radio or a sports show, they would compete on nationally. But I don't think 1500 ESPN, for a while, they might not even have had shows until noon. But I know when I was doing the morning traffic reports and sports updates, that was during Mike and Mike. So technically, Tom, we competed against each other, and I can tell you, you won.
I did?
Yeah, you won.
For once.
You won.
Thank God.
Okay, the competition thing, though, is interesting. You guys all know that I hijack, so I'm sorry. But I was thinking about this yesterday because I was listening to you, and I know you have stuff you want to get to, so I'll try and make this quick.
No, it's all yours, man.
We
You're
got
here.
nothing.
I was listening to you with Kenny and Amy on News from the Krabby Coffee Shop, which at one point in iteration I worked with Kenny on, and I love Kenny. But you talked about it at one point, I think John Hines roomed with you. Am I making that up?
Yeah, John
Okay.
Hines and I lived together, yep.
And technically, at one time, you guys were competing with each other.
Yes.
And I always say this, even with what SKOR North does, we are 99% a digital property. All podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, all sports related for those who are not familiar. Technically, we compete with a bunch of different people. We compete with the other sports radio station in town, I guess, to a degree. I don't see it that way. They might. But competition's a good thing.
Yeah, no question. Yep.
I look at some of the other guys that are in the same space. I want them to do well. If they do well, guess what that does? That pushes us to do well.
That's exactly right.
And to be better. And believe it or not, there's enough people in this world where we can all coexist and be successful. And do I want to win and be better? Absolutely, I do. That doesn't mean I think ill will of anybody else, especially those that I have worked with and learned from. So it was kind of fun for me to hear that because I do think, and you can lend some credence to this, if you go back 30 years, Tom, did you treat, or did other people in the business, maybe not even you, did you treat competitors as friends, or was it truly...
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Always did. John Hines and I have been friends for 8,000 years. I mean, there are a number of guys. Unfortunately, a lot of the people I started with are dead, and it's not because they got old. It's because, Smoking Joe Hager's dead, Charlie Bush is dead, Steve Hatley's dead, Larry Carolla's dead. I mean, I just about named 1,500 KSTP's entire staff.
Yesterday, you mentioned a name on the show that I did. I'll bring up because I think it's timely in the sense you're talking about people that have passed. Mr. Dan Culhane, who you worked with.
Love Dan.
And I also worked with Dan at another place in town. And I'll never forget this. I won't name where it was. People could probably really dig and figure it out. But the first day at a job here in the cities, I meet Dan Culhane, and it's not WCCO, so I'll say that because I think that was his final his final job, and he did a great job. A brilliant production man, voice like butter, the definition,
no doubt about it,
of voice like butter, and the sweetest soul you would ever meet.
I agree.
So I had worked with him years ago when he was at Clear Channel at the time. I think he was doing production for them, and I got to know him a tiny bit, but I really got to know him at this other stop. And also, as you would remember, Tom, just a real witty, charming, but also could be very funny at the same time.
Oh, no question.
So I go downstairs and I meet him at this place. It's the first time I've seen him in a few years, and he shakes my hand and he goes, "Welcome to the Great Step Back."
Culhane.
But yeah, just a sweet man. And now we'll switch. You guys need to take that 4-day vacation to South Dakota.
Yeah, Catherine.
We've talked about this.
We're definitely going to go. It's just whether it's like when.
You're already going on quite a few vacations in the past month and coming month. So I mean,
Oh, Catherine, a lot
Well,
of
I mean-
vacations, huh?
Yeah, you leave for England for 9 days in less than a week, and you just got back
Yeah.
yesterday.
You don't need to go on any more vacations, I don't think.
I was here
Just a little
slaving
4-day,
away.
just a little
That's all I
4-day to
know.
Sioux Falls.
Yeah, 4-day to Sioux Falls.
In
That
the
wouldn't
fall,
really
I'd love to go
count
there in
as
the
a
fall.
vacation.
That's
You
when
don't
I
have to go
want
there
to
in the fall just because it's called falls.
And go
Yes.
to the actual falls.
Yes.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I'd like to stay right on that river.
It's
They're beautiful.
It's beautiful, and it's. This will sound so mean. I'm not trying for it to sound mean. The Sioux Falls are quintessential South Dakota from the standpoint. It's everything in South Dakota. They build it up, right? For every mile on
Right.
Highway
Yep.
90, they tell you to go to Wall Drug, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Then you
Oh,
get
yeah.
there and you're like, okay, it's great. I don't think it's worth 87 billboards
Yeah.
on the way to
Yeah.
it, right?
A lot of billboards.
So then you go, oh, Sioux Falls. Wow, these falls must be gigantic.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
They're numerous.
Yeah.
but
Then
they're
you go
not
see them and
gigantic.
you're like, okay, it's beautiful. It's really not a fall. It's more of a trickle.
It's a trickle. It is.
Right,
You're
yeah,
absolutely
right.
It's a
right.
trickle. But Sioux Falls is great. I mean, and I think South Dakota, there are like the Badlands are
Oh,
beautiful.
I know. I love the Badlands.
We had our honeymoon in the Black Hills
Beautiful.
5 years ago.
Did you go
6
on?
years ago.
Did you go through I-90 all the way over there?
Oh, I bet.
Candy, do you remember?
We went through. I know we went past Wall Drug and we went through Sioux Falls and we went through Deadwood.
Yep.
Okay.
So whatever road that would have been.
So-
That's I-90.
We've talked about this before when I was working in lovely winter South Dakota when I had all the mice in my car.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Driving,
that, yes.
driving on Highway 90 is incredible because about every couple hundred miles, you're like, oh, wow, that's really nice. And then it's gone.
Nothing.
Yep, and then
Yep.
for the next
Yeah.
hour and a half,
Nothing.
just nothing, right?
Yep.
So when you're driving on Highway 90 and you get to the lovely town of Chamberlain, which is right on the Missouri River,
Right.
you
Yep.
go down this steady hill and you look around and it is, I'm not kidding, it is beautiful.
Yeah.
On a sunny day, it is beautiful. It is gorgeous. You drive down past this little town that's right on the river. You go over the bridge, and then you got nothing until you get to the Black Hills of the
Yep.
Badlands.
I remember we took the kids on a road trip to South Dakota.
You
And-
did?
yeah, we did.
I don't
we
remember
went,
anything.
We went to Mount Rushmore and did
I
that
remember.
whole
Yeah,
thing.
very
and
cool.
we panned for gold, and we.
I
I do
remember.
remember that.
Oh, okay. Well,
I
that
remember
was that
panning for
trip,
gold, okay.
and I remember that was not too many years after Dancing with Wolves was out.
Oh, okay.
Dances with Wolves. Oh God, yeah.
Oh my God! And there was every single farm had a
Yep.
see the horse that was in Dances
Yes,
with Wolves.
Yep.
See the buffalo that was in Dances with Wolves. Oh, and not every farm had something that was in Dances with Wolves. See the wagon that was in Dances with Wolves.
It's like
And-
the New York version.
And-
It's like original best slice of pizza.
Right. So
We
one
invented
guy
pizza here.
got the award though, and I still think about this from time to time. I don't know why, but it just still makes me chuckle. So there's this hand-painted sign in the front of their farm, and it says, "Come and see the only horse that was never in Dances with Wolves."
For real.
I remember that, yes. That was great.
See, that's self-awareness and
It was
situational
so funny.
understanding.
I'm like,
That-
this guy, we should go and just give him $50 just
Yeah.
for the chuckle.
I also love that South Dakota, their capital is in a town called Pierre.
Oh, yeah.
You would
Yep.
think it's in Sioux Falls or Rapid City.
Yeah.
Yep.
But way back in the day, they were smart enough to say, well, I mean,
People are already going there.
Yep, Rapid City's. Well, Rapid City's here. Sioux Falls is here. They're
Yeah.
about 5 hours from each other. Let's just put the capital right in the middle. Also a beautiful city, but unless you're a legislator, I don't really think you're going there.
Right.
But
right.
the capital's beautiful.
How far away is Yankton from Sioux Falls? Does anybody know?
If I had to recollect,
Because I guess that's a
find
very
out.
I think it's
beautiful, bluffy
probably-
area right on a river there.
let's test my. I was there for 2 years. I'm gonna guess an hour, Andy,
Oh, that's not bad.
but I could be wrong
My
on
brother
that.
Sioux
almost
Falls, you
moved
said?
to from Sioux Falls. My brother almost moved to Yankton, but then he started looking at the weather. He's like, it's no better than here. So he ended up in Idaho.
Hour
was-
20.
Okay,
Oh,
so
that's
I
not
wasn't
so
bad.
bad.
Oh, it's like right on the southern border.
It's supposed to be just a really pretty country, bluff.
Yeah,
bluff country.
it's nice. When I work, it's funny that he said, "Oh, the weather's not much better here." When I worked in lovely winter, the people there would tell me, "I can't believe you grew up in Minneapolis. It's so cold there." And I told them, I said, "When the wind blows here,
Oh yeah.
it literally cuts through my body. This is the
Yes.
coldest place on the planet because there's nothing in most states or most cities in South Dakota, excuse me, that stops the wind.
They
Right?
haven't
Yep.
planted
We
trees.
talked about that like yesterday
Yeah,
or the
plant
day
a
before,
tree.
like
Yeah.
North Dakota and South Dakota. Like,
Yeah, the
Wind.
only place
wind.
where I think you walk around and don't feel the wind as bad is if you're in like Fargo, Sioux Falls, like the big cities, and you're walking downtown
yeah,
because the
yeah.
wind will block it.
buildings.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Everywhere
Well, but then
I-
you go through one of those intersections where it just happens to be
the
perpendicular,
wind tunnel?
like parallel
Yeah,
to
the
the
wind
wind,
tunnels,
and
yes.
it concentrates all of it down that street.
Yeah.
And it's like walking into a wall.
That's
yeah.
called something. There's something
course
effect.
there is.
Yeah, it's called. It's I don't remember.
Yeah, I spent 2 winters in lovingly middle of nowhere, South Dakota. It was the coldest winters I've ever experienced in my
Really?
life, and they would tell us how cold Minneapolis is. I'm like, well, maybe by air temperature, but I can tell you when the wind blows here, it doesn't hurt like it did in Minnesota.
Yeah, honestly, when it's 0 degrees here, but the air is absolutely still, it's actually not that
Yeah,
bad.
no.
Mm.
Like wind matters.
It's when the wind
so
hits
much
you.
worse. Okay.
It's just
Well,
not
if
bad.
You two don't count anymore.
No,
Yeah, really.
we
Well,
don't.
this
Your
is also
weather,
Yeah.
this is also how bad we trick ourselves in the Midwest,
Well,
right?
yes,
We do this.
I'm
oh,
like
well.
below 32 sucks. Sorry.
I'd rather it be
32.
Below 30 before freezing.
I'm like a
Yeah.
solid
Official
40 to
Floridian.
70 guy. I just want to live between 40 and 70.
Yep.
I'd rather it be 10 and still than 50 and windy.
Really?
Yeah.
That's very specific.
I don't really.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not, that's not the specifics. I'm just saying
Yeah.
here's some examples.
Yeah.
Well, the wind cuts through you. That's why.
That's the thing is,
I don't
yeah.
really care.
It does.
I just.
And I'd rather
Put
it be
a coat
either
on.
of those than 100.
I'd rather be super cold than super hot.
Me too.
I can
No,
tell you
I
that.
I was in D.C. and I'm telling you.
Yeah, that 100
Especially
degrees
in
high
a
humidity.
city where you're getting baked from the sidewalk, baked from the buildings,
Mm-hmm.
baked from the sun. You're just like, oh my.
Well, that's what we had up here last weekend. It was high 90s at points. It was
And again tomorrow, Andy.
yeah, I
That's
know.
gonna
what's
do it
crazy
again
about this
tomorrow?
weather.
Yeah,
It's 65 today
It's
for
gonna
a
be-
high.
yeah,
and
it's
it's
gonna be 90 tomorrow. Yeah.
90 and
What?
storming. So look forward
It's
to
going to
that.
storm tomorrow.
Good
I thought
for-
it wasn't going to.
Maybe it keeps everything keeps
It
changing.
always
changing.
changes.
Like
Good
today
for
it was
those of
supposed
us.
to be cloudy and drizzly, and now it's not raining at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's forecast is perfect for those of us who hate the heat, but will be outside at the Weird Al Yankovic concert at Treasure Island.
Oh
We
my
were
God,
just
he's back
talking
in
about
town.
Yeah,
him
he's
where
back.
he went. Oh, okay, he's back.
Yeah, Weird Al. He used to come on the show, the KQ show, all the time. Then all of a sudden, he just stopped coming on. I don't know what it was. He just.
He probably
then,
just stopped doing stuff.
Yeah,
for
it
a
doesn't
while.
need it anymore.
Then the next time I talked to him, he was incredibly arrogant.
Was he?
I'm
Because
sure.
that movie came out.
Yeah.
Oh, the one that they just did
VHS
for
or whatever
him?
it was called.
Oh, yeah, that okay,
Yeah.
got it. Okay.
Like, Weird Al, you're still not that big a deal. Calm down.
To a certain age bracket, he is definitely a big deal.
Well, no, I understand that. Yeah, I do understand that.
Well, if I
always liked him.
If I happen to see him tomorrow, do you have any terse words you'd like me to
Yeah.
tell him?
Tom says that you are a bum. No, he was always very nice, but I understand they make a movie about you. You're probably going to carry your ego out front for a while.
Yeah, and a part of me thinks too that was what 30, 20. No, UHF. What was that? Late 80s.
UHF was 1989, so yeah,
Yeah.
it's
There
been a
you go.
bit.
So
Been a bit.
he's a father now too. So maybe
Oh,
that
that's right.
maybe that's
Yeah.
humbled him a bit. But I've always appreciated the talent. Like I'll admit, I don't think the music is not all that great, but just being able to lyrically take somebody else's music.
Well, he was the first of his kind,
Correct.
I think.
Yeah.
And take something and literally just
Yes.
make people laugh or go, wow, that's brilliant, really good. And Michael Jackson apparently adored him.
Yep.
Kurt Cobain of Nirvana thought it was great when he said, hey, I want to rip off
Yeah.
Smells Like Teen Spirit.
He
And Kurt
didn't-
Cobain's like, go ahead.
He didn't
This
have
is
to
great.
ask permission, but he always did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I can admire.
But then there's the Coolio story. You guys heard his story with Coolio because he did Amish Paradise.
Right. Yep.
And
I don't
and
know this.
Coolio had Gangster's Paradise.
Yep.
And Weird Al did always ask for permission.
Oh.
And Al claims he did get permission. Well, Coolio says, I never gave you permission. And apparently there was a little bit of a strife for a bit, but I think they worked it out. But I'm like, it's the old competition thing that we talked about. This is good for both of you.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
If Weird Al's covering your song or parodying your song and
Yeah.
people are like, wow, this is really funny, but they haven't heard the other one, they're going to go listen to the other one. But
Right.
no, I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. It's just my luck, though. I don't know how half this country lives, and I'm dead serious. But when it comes to weather, when it's 85 outside, I am miserable.
Me too.
And then when you factor in here in Minnesota, it's never like 80. We had a couple, March maybe, we had some 80-degree days.
Yeah.
Those were nice. Those were nice.
The
There was
heat
no
wave.
humidity. There was
That's
nothing.
because the sun's not that strong yet.
Yeah.
But now in Minnesota,
No, it's the humidity.
yeah, June through August, even into September, when it's above 80, it is miserable here.
Last weekend, you could see the water evaporating off of our patio.
Oh, God, that's not good.
Yeah.
I was in a few years ago, I was at a conference in Dallas, and it was like 98 degrees with the real feel of like 109, 110,
But
right?
it's a dry heat.
And that is every day down there
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
like 2 months on end.
Phoenix is like that. Phoenix is like regularly in the
Well,
hundreds.
Phoenix doesn't have the humidity.
But it's a
though.
dry heat.
But it is a dry heat.
You have to
but
You're not
wear
sweating like a
you have to wear an
pig.
oven mitt to open your car door.
When it is so hot, they're not landing planes because they're worried about the rubber melting or the
Yeah.
runway buckling.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't care if it's a dry heat.
Yeah.
It's too hot.
It's too hot.
Well, they
Yeah,
had that stuff all over the news this week. I guess this heat wave has been hitting a lot of places, and they were showing buckled highways, and all of this stuff has been going on all over the country, really.
Goodness.
Yeah.
I want
It's
you to know,
everywhere.
because of what you just talked about, the rest of my day I'm going to hear, hey, I'm going to sit by you. Another one rides the bus.
Another one rides the bus.
I loved that.
Here.
That was my favorite that he did.
Do you know what I'm hoping for? And I hope I'm going to alert a new group to this song because I don't think many people know. You ever heard The Biggest Ball of Twine in Minnesota?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
he did a song about, it's Darwin, Minnesota, right? They have that
I believe it's
gigantic ball
Darwin,
of twine.
yes. Yep.
And basically the main chorus is, it's the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota. It's like 7 minutes long. Because that's another thing, too. He does parody music, but he does create his own songs that are comedy.
Oh, I
Okay.
didn't
And so
know
I
that.
have to believe the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota will be on the set list tomorrow night.
Yeah,
But
I'm
there was
sure it
also
will.
Daniel Radcliffe played him in a basically they parodied his life.
Oh, they did.
So they put out this movie, and everybody thinks it's going to be this real biopic of Weird Al. Well, it is in the sense it's a biopic, but nothing's true at all.
Oh.
So at one point he is dating Madonna in the biopic.
course.
Yep.
Of
And
course.
then he Madonna is apparently running a drug cartel. So like nothing about the movie is real. They basically just said, let's do a movie version of your life.
I could see that.
But then
though.
parody it as if it's your life. It was fantastic. And Daniel Radcliffe, everybody thinks of him as the Harry Potter guy,
Yep.
or Harry Potter kid, which is totally fair. He'll
That
probably
or that-
never escape that.
No.
that
But
or
he's
that
very
weird
good.
ass movie, what was it, Equus, I think?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, or
The blinding of the horse or
Horse.
something.
Yeah, he was like in love with a horse. Yeah, that was a weird
kid.
one.
That-
Somehow I missed that one, and I think
Yeah.
I'm glad that I did.
It's okay.
I'm
I'm glad
aware
that I
of
did.
it, though. We have a regular listener who's always in the chat, Charlie in Albuquerque, and every so often when I read his name, I think of Albuquerque.
We'll take a break, be right back, and wrap things up right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to me, your customers. They're listening to us as well, and they'll hear me promote your business. The Tom Bernard Podcast attracts thousands of listeners who are loyal, engaged, ready to support businesses they trust. Our podcast has helped numerous businesses increase traffic, sales, brand recognition. We're not just about ads, we're about results. Whether you're a local business or a national brand, we offer custom advertising packages designed to fit your unique needs and goals. So here's the deal. Our audience spans multiple demographics, allowing you to target your ideal customers with precision, from millennials to baby boomers and everyone in between. With the broad reach of the show and passionate following, your business will see increased visibility and awareness translating into more customers and sales. He's rocking out, man.
Oh, his eyes don't glow already.
You got great
No,
bumps.
you have to turn it on.
You really do.
Andy did all that.
They're good.
I have what?
The bumper music.
music.
In and out. It's good.
Yep.
It sets a good tone. Hey, can we talk sports for 30 seconds?
Whatever, you're
However-
the guest.
however
You do
long
whatever
you
Twins
want
won
to.
last night.
Hey,
Moving on.
Your Twins are surging. That 2 in a row.
Yep.
Wow.
Major League One, or maybe
2
it's
in a
Major
row.
League Two, reminds me that you've won 2 in a row.
Ross,
That's
let me
called
ask
a
you a
winning
question.
streak.
I've been,
now.
I've been following the Twins since 1961.
Yeah.
I can never remember a year when this many teams scored 10 or more runs Why is it all of a sudden people are scoring 10, 12 runs a game?
Well, they changed the rules of baseball recently, didn't they? Like a year or two ago?
Well, they did and they didn't. Nothing that would really lead to dramatic scoring like that.
No multi-ball or anything like
guess.
that?
Wouldn't that be something if once an inning
Yes.
there was a batter? Well, there was something floated. This is actually a good segue, Andy. Was it the off season? Somebody floated something called basically a golden at bat rule.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Did you hear about this? So
I remember
basically,
hearing about it.
basically, the golden at bat could be something as simple as Byron Buxton leads off an inning, he gets walked. Next two guys come up, they get singles. So let's just say there's the bases loaded. Manager guy could say, "Okay, Bob, go run for Buxton at third. Buxton, you're batting again."
Right.
You could do that.
Really?
You could do
That's
that
right.
once a game. You know, at first I thought that was kind of dumb. I still think it's kind of dumb. Mm-hmm. But you know what? At the end of the day, we've talked about this before. They're entertainment.
Yeah, really.
The goal is to win. You want to win. It's competitive, especially at that highest level. I'm not saying I would do it. I wouldn't. But if Major League Baseball made that change, I'm not as opposed to it as I used to be. And here's the only reason why. It would bug me as far as how the game is being played. But baseball as a sport, they're not at risk of going away. I don't believe that at all.
No.
But it's not a destination like it used to be
No, it's
for
not.
many people.
Not
Young
at
people
all.
aren't like,
Correct. They watch
pining
highlights.
for the days of the going to the baseball games.
If they watch games now, Andy, they either do it in person or they're watching highlights on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is a nerd like me sitting down watching 150 baseball games from start to finish.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
baseball cards,
It's-
collecting the stats and everything.
Correct.
It's like, oh, I got last year's card. We got to get the new one with the new
Well-
stats on it.
Baseball stadiums are kind of, you're in the elements. You've got the sun in your eyes. You've got
Yeah,
the sun
that's true.
beating down. You go to a basketball
Oh, yeah.
game, you're inside and climate controlled everything.
Yeah, Dan went to the game last Saturday when it was like,
Oh,
it
yeah.
felt like
Oh.
105, and I don't think the Twins scored at all.
No,
God.
they
That
were
would be
taken
brutal.
to the woodshed on Friday and
he
Saturday
was like,
of last weekend.
yeah, it was so fun.
The 10 runs thing, Tom, you talking about just the Twins specifically or across baseball?
Across baseball.
Yeah, there's-
My God, there's a lot of 10-run games.
I don't know specifically why that would be, or I don't really have any data in front of me that would show like comparatively what it is. But my hunch is always just that the game always adapts. It's cyclical. You go through these stretches where there's a lot of hitting and teams score a lot of runs. Then you might go through a year or two where pitching is dominating and teams just aren't scoring as much runs.
Yep.
The Twins thing the last couple weeks when they were just getting murdered was a little interesting because the Twins, they definitely have their issues.
Okay. Sorry, don't mind my kids.
Their pitching generally all year is what kept them in the mix until the last couple weeks. Their
Yep.
pitching, starting pitching and relieving was pretty solid. But then they just went through this funk for 2 weeks where
Right.
every game was 5-0 before you even settled down with your favorite beverage. So I don't really know where that came from. Season's still incredibly long. They're only
They are
technically
long.
2.5 games
Yeah.
out of a playoff spot. I don't know if I believe that they'll make the playoffs, but
Yeah.
they got about a month to figure it out because the trade deadline is July 31st. And generally, you're either trading to make your team better or trading to make your team better in the long run by
Right.
giving up stuff. So it'll be interesting to see where they go. But
Just the Twins can look so amazingly good,
Yes.
and then just like such crap, like in
Yep.
in a,
Yep.
in a day.
They can. No, they can. And I still struggle with it because I think I'm in the minority here. I still look at the core of this team and I see a good baseball team. But then you look at the results and they don't match.
Right.
They don't match the eye test. And the one thing I was talking with somebody in our building over at Hubbard about, they can't put it together all at the same time.
No.
They will have 2 or 3 guys in the lineup that are hitting really well and in a nice groove, and then the other 5 or 6 aren't doing anything. And then they had that stretch where for 2 months the pitching carried them, but nobody hit. Then, like all teams, they'll have these stretches where they hit a bit, but then, of course, then the pitching's not there.
Right.
I think their main issue is not dissimilar to a lot of teams. They have a young core that they're trying to figure out actually 2-3 years from now who is a part of this team. So when you go back to the mid 80s and Tom's talking about this team's going to win the World Series, that's kind of where this team is at right now. They're trying to figure out when this thing ramps up again, who are these guys? Is it going to be Is it going to be Matt Wallner? Is it Trevor Larnach?
Right,
You know,
right.
can Royce Lewis ever stay healthy? I mean, that's another thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's real easy to poke fun at the manager, which I do, by the way. Mm-hmm. But when your three best players, Royce Lewis, Byron Buxton, and Carlos Correa, almost never play together in the same lineup.
That's right.
It's really tough to win. It just
Right.
is. Those are your three best players. Royce Lewis, not his fault. He never plays. Byron Buxton, until this year, not necessarily his fault. He never plays. He hasn't played. He's only played more than 100 games twice in his career. He's
Right.
played,
How old is he?
He's played 11 years. He's 31.
God, he looks
He's
like
31.
an old guy.
And now you have. Yeah.
He does. He looks like
Well,
an
'cause-
old
but
guy.
think about it though, because you remember him as a 20, 21-year-old too.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
that's what it
And now
is.
he's,
I always,
you know-
I always feel like he's been around
Who are
forever.
we talking about?
He sure can catch a ball out there.
Byron Buxton. Oh, and that's the crazy
Yeah,
thing.
he's like a ballerina out
He's
there.
he's had all these injuries, and he is still wickedly fast.
He
And then
Yeah.
is.
Carlos
Yep.
Correa,
He's very
still
fast.
a great defender, a plus defender, as people in the business would say. But man, has he struggled at the plate this year. And I'm guessing he's probably breaking down a little bit. Remember, he had contracts lined up with the Mets and Giants, and then he didn't pass the physical, or the doctors weren't comfortable telling ownership to give him the $400+ million, or I think it was at that time, maybe been 300 plus. And then he winds back up with the Twins. It's a deal I would absolutely do.
Sure.
But he just has not produced at the plate. But man, he's still fun to watch defensively when he
Yeah,
plays.
he's amazing.
My new favorite excuse, a couple weeks ago, they go, did you watch any of the games in Sacramento where they were playing in that AAA stadium?
Yes.
So,
Yep. A's, yep.
after that, I think it was the Sunday and then a couple games after, Correa missed 3 games. And the excuse was the dirt was too hard in Sacramento.
Yes, the dirt was too hard.
His back
Yep.
flared up. I'm like, this is where we're at with this guy. We can't take
Yep.
him anywhere, right?
Yep.
And and it's just like all these guys. That's what's frustrating as a Twins fan. Buxton, Correa, and Lewis. Lewis, there's maybe still some doubt. We haven't seen him play consistently. But 2 of the 3, they're good players.
Yeah.
They don't not want to play. They don't want to be injured. But it's just really frustrating as a fan when they never play. And that's who
Yeah.
you want to see when you go to the park. And I don't hold injury against him. It's the same thing with Joe Mauer. People would get so mad at Joe Mauer. Like, why? We know more
Well,
than...
I know, but it always sounded like they made something up about
By
him.
the
yeah.
relinquishment?
Oh yeah.
And
Oh,
it was like, what the hell's that?
They went out. They did him no favors. A good buddy of mine always says
Yep.
that too. They did. Remember the one year? It was like September 6th, September 10th. There were 3 weeks left in the season. I get it. It was a lost season. But they shut him down for the year because he had pneumonia.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is he going to have pneumonia for the next month?
Yeah.
Can he not come back and play for 2 weeks? You know,
Right.
at that time, I was thinking we're trying to pad Hall of Fame stats here. Let's get him back in the lineup. But yeah, they didn't do him any fit. They didn't do him. And I'm not saying pneumonia is not a big deal. But again,
No.
like there's like a month left in the season. So yeah, I don't know. I could talk about this stuff all day long. I'm still not willing to say the Twins won't make the playoffs. I don't think they can
Right.
realistically
I
compete.
understand.
I saw some guy
win the World Series.
in D.C. with a Twins hat on, and I said, Twins? He goes, we're going all the way.
You know what though? Sports are crazy. I mean, you truly never can say never. I
Right.
mean,
That's
Right.
true.
we've had teams in recent memories get to the playoffs and they maybe haven't won the World Series, but a few years ago the Diamondbacks made it to the playoffs. They had 84 wins, and then they made it all the way to the World Series.
Yep.
Twins, until the Cardinals won the World Series in the early 2000s with less wins, that 87 team had what, Tom? 85 regular
right,
season
that's
wins?
right, yeah.
And that was the quote-unquote worst team to win a World Series.
Yep.
So it can happen, but
Can happen, but
Yeah, I
that's
think-
highly unlikely.
I think there's just we got to continue to find ways to I don't want to say make the game quicker, but we just got to find ways to make it more appealing on the younger fans. And I refuse to believe that speeding the game up by 11 minutes is going to make more people watch the game. There's probably got to be more things that you can
I
do.
just don't think that people are going to go sit and pay for, I don't know what a ticket is to the Twins game anymore. What is it?
I think you can get in
for a decent
Yeah,
ticket.
40, $50.
40, 50
Yep.
bucks, dealing with getting downtown,
Yep.
dealing with parking, and then you're going to sit there with the blazing sun
Yep.
in your face. They need to they've always needed to do something with shade or something so that you're not roasting
This is
for a day game.
This is a problem all across sports.
Yeah.
Is that we have cut out the average family.
Yes.
Right. The average family of 4. If you go to a Twins game, and I'm probably being conservative here, Now, some families can do it better. If I live on a shoestring budget. I'm always penny pinching. But if you're going to go and truly have a good time as a family of 4,
Sure.
by the time you buy your tickets and your parking, you're going to spend at minimum $250.
Easy.
How many families?
hot dogs, what,
Yep.
$12?
How many families of 4 just have that money just sitting around that they can spend to go to a baseball game?
Right.
They would
Right.
probably rather just say, let's save that $250 for when we go to Wall Drug on our 4-day weekend.
Yeah, there you go.
Weekend in Sioux Falls. So I
Yeah.
think the Twins, I'll give them credit. They have done as good of a job, I think, as they can. They have these family value stands where you can get stuff at reduced prices.
Yeah,
and
they
it's-
got days where it's cheaper.
and it's decent. It's not, obviously if you want the good stuff, you're going to have to pay more for it, but you can go get a hot dog and a pretzel for $10 combined and it's okay. But to your point, you want to go get the really good Polish sausage, or you want to
Yeah.
go get like a taco bowl or something that they
Right.
have, you're going to spend $15-20.
Yeah, and then kids,
and that's for one
kids always
person.
want to get a little, memorabilia or something, and that's all
my gosh.
crazy expensive.
I'll never understand. Sorry, friends of the Minnesota Twins. I'll never understand anybody who goes to Twins game, Vikings game, whatever, and buys the stuff at the team store. Like,
Right.
know.
just Google it. You'll get
It's
a much.
official,
You'll get a
but it's
much
official.
But you'll get the same stuff. You'll
I
get
know.
the same stuff. Those prices. I mean, that's one thing that I don't know how I can fix it, but I'm very cognizant of that, and that is an issue. I go to Twins games, and I'm probably one of their least favorite customers. I'll buy a ticket on the secondhand market for $10. Maybe I'll go buy a 12-ounce $6 beer and hot dog. I'll get out of there for less than $25. Now, granted, I still go probably 5-10 times a year, so I can't drop $100 a night. But I got friends that don't know how they do
Sure.
it, and I think the Polad family or the next owners are very happy that they're doing it. I can't believe I completely turned away from the camera. How come nobody yelled at me? By the way,
That's
No,
all
it's
right.
fine.
I've been looking
You
at-
can still
Not
see
a
your.
problem.
You can still see
I've been looking at
profile.
Tom.
We
So,
can see you.
I don't know how we ever fix that. But a part of the problem is it's the salaries. How are you going to pay for salaries of players if you're
Right.
charging $1 a
Right.
hot dog?
Yep.
When I was in D.C., some stuff was popping up about the. Was it Target Field, Target Center? Something they want to move it or close it down, or what
well,
is it? What
so
was-
the Timberwolves have new owners, and eventually they're going to want a new building. They've already
wrong with that building?
literally on the record they've said we're not moving the team, which is a terrible negotiation tactic. By the way, I wouldn't advise them
Right.
to say that. It's
It's one of the oldest.
people in
But
the
it's still nice.
people,
It is still nice,
people in
yes.
the know will tell you of the 30 NBA arenas, it's probably 28th or 29th.
Oh.
So I go there and it's fine, but I'm not going there more than a handful of times a year. That's Mark Laurie and Alex Rodriguez are technically the two big owners. I'm sure there's other ones
Yeah.
with them. They also have money from Michael Bloomberg. And we can debate all you want about who pays for stadiums, who doesn't. Mm-hmm. My theory has always been, to a degree, sometimes the state may have to help. I know people will disagree with me. But when you have Michael Bloomberg's money behind you, and you just got the Timberwolves for probably half of what they're worth, they got them for $1.5 billion. Apparently, right now
that's
they might be worth $3 billion. And you have Michael Bloomberg's money.
Yeah, it's a little hard.
Go
to,
build it
yeah.
wherever you want with your cash.
Yeah.
Where would they put it though? Where do they want it?
I'm a huge fan
a basketball stadium.
I'm a huge fan of other towns do this. We can do it too. Not everything has to be in Minneapolis and
Yeah.
St. Paul.
Well, this
I
is
know,
true,
right?
Yeah.
I would love something out. There is so much space out by the Mall of America.
Well,
Yeah, there were
that's-
talks.
You
you
could-
got me there.
You
Yeah.
could build a mecca and a beautiful place out in Bloomington. I know for a while. When the Twins built Target Field, did we ever examine that, or was it always going to be in Minneapolis?
I don't remember.
The
I'm pretty
Vikings,
sure it
the
was,
Vikings
yeah.
floated Arden Hills for a little bit.
Right.
So,
Well, I think that might be a reason for declining attendance is just like when there's a game in Minneapolis, just
It's
getting
so hard to
there
get in
is
and out of
awful. It's the
Minneapolis.
worst experience of your life
No, there's
sometimes.
like two little lanes and a
Yep.
light feeding onto the major artery to get
I
out of
know.
downtown. It's like
it's
this
the
is
worst
so
design.
stupid.
And I
it's
think-
like you got to somehow. Sometimes you have to block out 2 hours just to get to the game.
that's why people
and then
leave
another
early,
2.
too.
Yeah, exactly. To get home from the game if you stay to the end. And no one's going to do that.
And I think for football, you're probably more willing to do that. You're talking with preseason playoffs, no more than 12 games a year.
Yeah.
Baseball,
true.
you got 82 home games.
Yeah.
No one's going to do
Hockey
that.
and basketball, you got 40-ish home games. I mean, that's
a lot.
That's tough to do.
Yep.
And I mean, I like that the Wild are in St. Paul. It's the Twin Cities. Something should be there. I love
Yep.
that the
Yep.
St. Paul Saints obviously are in St. Paul. So I'm not saying I wouldn't be disappointed if it was still in Minneapolis, but I think the time's come where we can go 15 minutes outside the cities and there's
Well,
plenty of
let's
space.
not put anything in Bloomington until they get 494 done. Please.
Yeah, you got that right.
Might
Well,
be a
that-
150-year project, I think. It's ridiculous.
That might be a quarter past never. Yeah.
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 I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I can't imagine when
Could we
that's gonna
put
get
it
done.
next to a highway that actually has some lanes,
Yeah,
please?
When we went to the Brendel
that are
Rector
open.
concert, actually, so we were, you know, when you like crest 394 to the 94 exit, and you're like, oh God, here it
Yes.
comes.
Yep.
It was actually smooth sailing the entire way into St. Paul because there was a Twins game going on at the same time, and everyone was there.
Okay.
There you go.
So yeah, we were driving by, and 94 going west or north or whatever direction it's going at that point into the city from St. Paul. It was a parking lot, and we were like, well, we are going the correct way at the correct time. That's for sure.
Here's my biggest recommendation to anybody. When you're coming around 394 trying to get into 94 and it's backed up for 3 miles,
Go on the prohibited route.
well,
That's what we do.
I mean, you can do the old, sneak in front of a semi close.
Uh-huh.
Or if you just go through downtown and grab 6th Street, and
Yeah.
it depends on where you're going,
Yep.
you'll get through quicker if you just go through downtown
Yep.
True,
Minneapolis. Quick parking rant, or driving rant, then I'll let you guys go. When I'm governor, and I always say this stuff, I don't really have much interest in running for politics. Used to, still do at times, but overall it'll probably never happen. The first thing we're doing, and I will executive order, I will abuse my power if I have to. When you're taking 35E into St. Paul from the south, okay, so you're taking 35E, you're going by XL Energy Center.
Yeah.
Why do I have to drive into St. Paul to get
out
to
of St.
94?
Paul.
How is there not a ramp? How have we not built anything to connect the two?
Don't you just hear some
Why?
planning committee? What'll be so nice is they'll get into the city and they'll realize, it's so nice here.
Yeah,
they might
except-
want to stay for lunch.
It just we got a couple interchanges like even coming from where I came to hop on 94 West in Minneapolis. It's that one lane you're driving through,
Yep.
and is it the 11th Street exit you have to
Yes.
exit to? So then you get people who are all
Nightmare.
confused. They don't know where they're going. How is that a major interchange in a major city? How is that
I
the best
know.
we can do?
It's just unbelievable.
It is. Ross, how do people find you, your show, and all the rest of it?
So at the Ross Brendel on X, Minnesota Sports Chat on YouTube, or anything that I do on SKOR North. So I work with our Flagrant Howls podcast on Minnesota for the Minnesota Timberwolves. You'll see me from time to time doing stuff with the folks at Purple Daily, and something coming late this summer, early fall, pertaining to college football that I will be kind of spearheading for our group. I don't want to quite say what that is. Maybe I'll tell you guys off air, but that is around the corner. So if you're a Gopher football fan, perhaps keep your eyes and ears tuned for that, because nobody loves 7-5 college football like this guy. So I'm looking forward.
It's been 65 years since they won the national title.
It has been, yeah.
Let's not rub salt in the
65
wounds.
years.
Here's the deal. Now you're going to keep me longer in the current landscape of college football and where college football has been.
Go.
Not everybody loves the attitude or whatever the shtick, whatever you want to call it, of the head football coach currently at the University of Minnesota. I have no problem with it. I think he opens himself up for criticism and to be made fun of, which oftentimes, I'll be honest, I do. That doesn't mean I don't like him. I think he has done a hell of a job at the University of Minnesota. He has left meat on the bone. There's been a few seasons where at the end of the year you're like, boy, shouldn't have lost that game, and
Right.
instead of playing in the Tire Bowl, we would have been in a decent bowl game. Just the fact that as a Gopher fan, I can be upset about that stuff is a testament to where he has taken them. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
that's true.
By
That's a
and
good
large,
point.
they show up every year, and you go, well, they're going to win at least 6 games and play in a third-tier bowl game. That's a testament to him, to now being basically a decade in. More often than not, they're not going to get embarrassed by their opponent. You can tell more often than not they're going to lose to some of these teams like Michigan,
Right,
Ohio State.
right.
But I don't know. I by and large, I think he's done a very good job here, and I think most people underappreciate him because he's not his attitude and the way he approaches things is kind of the anti-Minnesota. Mm-hmm. But I think the results have spoken for themselves. He and Glenn Mason, man, incredibly underrated coaches.
I love Glenn. He's one of my favorite people in the world.
By the way, before we head out, if you're wondering what the deal is with the Jack's Cafe giveaway and the fact that we didn't do it this week, it's because Joe was in the hospital and he's, resting and everything. He's the one who's been pulling the names, actually.
Oh, okay.
So I think I'm just going to announce it on Monday. We're just going to let it go for a full week, and then we're going to do the tweet on Monday. However, next week we're only on for 3 days.
Ooh.
So I don't know how we're going to... I guess we'll just do one next week and then do the same thing, give it a full week, and
Yeah,
then...
next week's 4th of July week.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's,
Just leave it.
everyone's going to the cabin.
So next Monday
They're all
is...
going to the lake.
Next Monday is
Especially
when we're-
Wednesday night, Thursday. They're gone.
Yeah, they're
That's
gone.
exactly what we're thinking. So yeah, Monday, that's when the drawing is going to be. Just so you know.
Tom, I'll give you this, and then I'm literally going to turn my mic off. Great Glenn Mason story. Okay, so this, and I know you know him.
I love the guy.
I love this story about him. So years ago, I meet a friend at Station 280, one of my favorite dive bars in town, which I believe was a Gatsby's at one point.
I think that's right, yeah.
And it just so happens to be that night, Justin Gard from KFAN and Glenn Mason are doing. They had a weekly show. They might still have it. I don't know, but I didn't know they were there. Well, Glenn gets off the show, sits down, and I just walk up with a buddy, and I talk to him. And this is in the Jerry Kill regime. I can't remember if the Gophers were doing well that year or not, but I don't remember if it was myself or my buddy, but somebody said, oh, Glenn, really great to see you. Wish you were still the coach. And Glenn, I can't remember the exact quote, but Glenn basically said, don't feel bad for me. I have a great life.
Yeah.
I have
Oh,
a great
yeah.
I have a great life and a great family.
Yep.
You don't need to feel bad for me. And I love that stuff because
Yep.
how many times have I been on this show and we talk about sports, and every time I say this, sports are great. I love them. I make most of my living off of them.
Mm-hmm.
Spend way too much time watching them. At the end of the day, they don't mean anything.
Right,
Yeah,
that's
that is
true.
true.
In the grand scheme of life, they don't mean nearly as much as we think they do. Doesn't mean you don't take it seriously. Doesn't mean you can't invest. Doesn't mean you can't have fun. But when a guy who made millions of dollars coaching big-time college football gets fired, and he's able to tell you a handful of years later, "Don't feel bad for me. I have a good life."
It's true.
It's just one of those things where
Yeah.
you go, he gets it.
Yep.
He gets it.
does.
He's been afforded a great life, even if something went against him. He probably shouldn't have been fired the way he was or when
I
he was.
agree.
But good man. That said a lot about him. So
It did.
now I'm done talking. Thank you all for letting me come in and be a part of this.
Well,
Thanks
come
for
back.
coming in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
Great
thank
having
you.
That'll do it. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.